Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Shana, and today we are doing a 30-minute TRX suspension training and kettlebell workout. If you have several kettlebells, grab a few because you might want to interchange those weights. If you have one, then we're going to make do with the one you have. After our warm-up, we have 5 rounds of work today. In each round of work, we're going to alternate 30 seconds on the straps, 30 seconds on the bell, 30 seconds on the straps, 30 seconds on the bell. We'll do a little stretching, and then you'll be done, and you'll be stronger, and it's awesome. This workout has a theme of hinging and pushing. All right, let's get this party started. We're going to start with your TRX standing rollout. So bring your straps to mid-length, and I'm going to have you stand facing away from the anchor point on the balls of your feet. Give me a nice, strong, active plank. Shoulder blades in your back pocket. Squeeze your buns tight. I'm going to have you roll out those arms just a little bit, and then bring your hands directly beneath your shoulders. Roll them out. Feel your core brace, and bring them directly back. During this entire workout, I want you to focus on that perfect plank. Your ears, your shoulders, your hips, your ankles are in perfect alignment. You're actively pressing into your hands. You're engaging the core. I gotta think of a good one for your bum today. Let's do apples, not applesauce. So your butt cheeks are 2 firm apples, not applesauce. 3, 2, and 1. Squat row combo. I'll have you turn around so you're facing the anchor. I'll lean back, walk it under, feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, eyes up, bend both knees, give me a nice squat, and then a plank, and then a big row and squeeze, and back to your plank. So squat, brace, row, and return. Focusing on keeping your shoulders away from your ears. We're warming up your hips. We're using your hips a lot today with all those hinging exercises. And practicing keeping that space between your ears and shoulders. Ribs zipped in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Forward lunge with Y fly. Stand facing away from the anchor. Arms extended out in front of you. Shoulders down and back out of your ears. Big step forward with your right foot. Gently lower your left knee down. Feel that stretch through your chest, shoulders in your back pockets. Pressing into the handles. Come back up other side. Step forward with your left foot. Bend your right knee down. Open the hips up. And push down and return. Making sure you start far enough forward so that when you get to the bottom of this position, you actually feel a stretch through your hip flexors and through your chest. And I'm actively pressing back down into the handles so I can once again feel my core engage as I move back to that standing position. Give me one more on the other side. Good. Single leg hip hinge. We are hinging today. So let's work on this one. Have you grab your strap, stand facing the anchor point, walk it back so your arms are straight out in front of you, balance on your right foot, press those hands down, hinge forward, get a nice stretch through your hamstrings, and return. This entire time, focus on keeping a neutral spine. So not letting your lower back round. Again, pulling those shoulders back, actively pressing down into the handles of your TRX suspension trainer. Keeping the pinky toes of your elevated foot pointed toward the ground. Soften your front knee. 3, 2, and 1. Switch feet. Same pressure, same distance. Push down, hinge forward. Feel that stretch and come right back up. Again, shoulders are checked down and back. We're practicing that neutral spine, the stretch through your hamstrings, trying to reach your other heel back toward the other side of the room, all while actively pushing down on the handles, using the straps for balance and for reactive core stability. 3, 2, and 1. Lateral lunges. Get those feet nice and wide. Chest is up tall and proud. I'm going to have you bend your right knee. Get a nice stretch, sinking back into the heel. Pull yourself up. Bend your left knee. Toes are pointed directly forward. I'm sinking into the heel. I'm focusing on the stretch in the inner thighs, in the hamstrings, and I'm using the straps to unload my body weight. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Finally, your kettlebell ribbons. So I'm going to grab one of my lighter bells. I got my TRX branded kettlebells. Woo! You're going to hug these bells by the horns, right into your chin, shoulder blades anchored. And what I want you to do, you're going to wrap it around your head so the handle goes near your neck. So if you see me from the back side, the handle's near my neck, and my shoulders are open, my chest is open, and I'm going to bring it down to my hip and hinge a little bit. Then I'm going to unhinge, bring it up and around the other way, open my chest up, and back to my hip. Let's do this together. Open that up. So you're thinking of opening your chest, creating mobility in your shoulders and your upper body, and also working on hinging and unhinging your hips. So I hinge, I pop. It's a combination of upper body and lower body. We'll see this hinging and releasing later with our deadlifts, with our kettlebell hardstyle swings, and pretty soon with our TRX hip presses as well. 15 more seconds, opening the chest up, but keep your ribs zipped in, body straight and strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set down that kettlebell. All right, our first series, 30 seconds, we're gonna do your TRX hip press. So let's bring your TRX suspension trainer to mid-calf length, handles about knee height. Okay, for this exercise, you'll have your heels in the foot cradles. If you're at a door anchor, you're going to place your feet right next to the door. Bend your knees to about 90 degrees. Thighs are perpendicular with the floor. You'll squeeze your bum, lift up, lower down and tap. Again, knees directly above the hips, head, shoulders in alignment, and push and lift, and lower down and tap. Second exercise will be your kettlebell deadlifts. So I'm going to have you grab probably your heaviest kettlebell. And what I'm going to have you do is stand about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Shoulders check down and back. We're going to bend your knees, hinging at your hips, lowering the kettlebell down close to the floor. Squeeze your bum, pull that back up, pressing your hips forward. That feeling of pressing the hips forward should feel just like those TRX hip presses you just did. Okay, so from sideways, what my big focus is for you is that you keep this neutral spine, not letting your lower back round. As I bend my knees and slightly hinge forward, and then pull my pants up, drive the hips forward. All right, you guys ready for this? Let's get into position for those TRX hip presses. Okay, so straps are at mid-calf length, pop your heels in. Ready, team? 30 seconds, head and shoulders down, lift and tap. Toes are back towards your shins. I've got my palms up toward the ceiling. That's gonna help me open my chest up. And again, I'm lifting high enough so that when I come to the top, my knees, my hips, my shoulders are in alignment. You'll also notice when I lift my hips, I'm not straightening my legs out in front of me. 3, 2, and 1. You get a 30-second recovery. Woo! Stretch out those legs for a moment. Let's come on up, select a weight that's correct for you for those kettlebell deadlifts. And let's get into position. I'm gonna stand sideways so you can watch my spine. We're going in 15 seconds. As you deadlift down, you should again have this neutral spine. You should feel those 2 bumps surrounding your spine, making sure you're not dumping forward. Grab that bell, bend the handle, shoulders back, and pull it up. So I'm slightly hinging my hips, pressing them back, and coming back up to the top. Now this is a little different from a straight leg deadlift or a Romanian deadlift where there's very minimal knee bend. For these deadlifts, I'd like you to bend your knees just a little bit more, pressing your hips back. Now, I use this exercise, these kettlebell deadlifts, is a great prep toward actual barbell deadlifts for my clients. All right, that was the end of that set. Let's get back down into position for your TRX hip presses. Again, you get a 30-second rest break because today's focus is on strength. So I want slow, controlled, strong repetitions. We're going in 15 seconds. Let's get yourself in alignment. Pull those toes back towards your shins. Drive your heels down, knees directly above hips, and they're going to stay there. Head and shoulders on the ground, palms up. Going in 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze your buns, push down and lift up. Now, if you know me by now, you'll know this is probably my least favorite exercise in the entire world. Maybe this in like barbell back squats. But I know it's so important for me, so you'll see it in just about every workout. We have a big focus today on your posterior chain, the back side of your body. We tend to get really dominant in the front side of your body, your quads, and that can lead to knee injury, back injury. 3, 2, and 1. Oh my goodness. So that's why training the back side of your body and understanding how to hinge properly is so important. I'm in Wisconsin right now. Let's get ready for your deadlift. You have 20 seconds. I'm gonna face you this time. So it's May right now. I kid you not, it just snowed last week. So we always have to be in shoveling shape and ready to hinge and shovel, not round and shovel. All right, so let's practice our deadlifts. Grab onto that bell, pull those shoulders back, standing up, and lower down. And sadly, when most of the people I work with here get injured, is from shoveling or raking or gardening, because they're really not focusing on that proper hip hinge and your proper movement mechanics. So hopefully the more we train that in the gym, how to properly hinge, how to properly pick things up, the better that can carry over into day-to-day life. 2 and 1. Nice job. We're done with that round. Next round, you can grab a sip of water. We have a minute. We're going to do our TRX Chest Press. So I'll have you fully lengthen your straps. Okay. You'll be standing facing away from the anchor. Nice, strong, active plank on the balls of your feet. Option, you can take an offset stance if you want some more stability. Make sure the straps aren't touching your arms, though. And you'll do your chest presses here. Body nice and straight and strong. Second exercise, kettlebell push-ups. Now, ideally, you'll have 2 of them that are the same size. Mine are close, but not quite. And the smaller the kettlebell, the harder this is. What these do is force you to keep your body weight directly over the bells. Warning, if you don't do these correctly, they can roll and smoosh your fingers. So be aware of that. If you don't feel safe, just do these on the ground. On or off your knees, straight, strong plank, lower your chest to hands, press back up. Much harder than they look. Let's get ready for your chest presses. Stand facing away, strong, active plank. Here we go. Lower down, brace, drive it back up. We'll talk more about those push-ups in a moment. Making sure in this position you're squeezing your quads. So I'm on the balls of my feet. And it's funny because we're doing a chest press. So you don't think you would have to constantly focus on squeezing your quads, but that's actually going to give you a really nice, straight, strong, active plank. And your core is going to engage reflexively here. Still squeezing those buns, 2 apples. Big press off the bottom. Give me one more really good one. Down and drive. Now let's get in a position for these kettlebell push-ups. I use these with my clients who struggle with where their shoulders should be aligned over their hands when they're doing their push-ups. Like you might have people who do them like this, or they're too far forward. With the kettlebells, you have to have your shoulders directly above your hands, otherwise the kettlebell falls over. Plus it takes a little bit of balance and stability too. On or off your knees, let's come up to that nice strong active plank, pressing down into your bell, squeezing your buns, and here we go. Lower down, brace, and drive it up. And again, if you only have one kettlebell, if you don't feel safe with this, feel free to just use the floor. If you really want, you can do another set of TRX chest presses. And notice how I have the kettlebells angled so my elbows are coming back at about a 45-degree angle. If there was a view of my back from the top, and no, I did not anchor a ceiling GoPro today, my elbows would be making kind of an arrow formation rather than straight out to the side. Nice job. Let's get ready for your chest presses again. Now that you know what to expect, let's try a slightly steeper angle, meaning walk your feet a little closer to where your straps are anchored, to your door or to your overhead anchor. But make sure you can keep your back straight in that nice, strong, active plank. So I'm going to wiggle it back a little bit. And I famously start too steep and then have to walk forward during the set. And that's okay. All right, we're going in 3, 2, 1. Strong plank. Here we go. Down and brace. Take a minute to check on where those straps are. If they're rubbing up against your arms, you're cheating. If you're not sure if they're rubbing on your arms, when you're done with this workout, you can take a look at your upper arms in the mirror. And if there's a red mark on them, that means you were cheating. Really press down to the floor. Squeeze those buns. Squeeze your quads. Eyes out ahead of your hands. 3, 2, lots of strength. I didn't have to walk forward. High five to myself. All right, back to those deadlifts. When I said deadlifts, I mean push-ups. I'll tell you a story in a minute on why I'm not totally on my A game today. We're doing some push-ups. Get ready. If you're feeling a little bit fatigued from that last set or didn't feel very safe for you, remember you can always go from your knees. These are still really tough. Or you can take away the kettlebells. Going in 3, 2, 1. Pressing down, lower down, brace, driving in, come back up. Now, just because your hands are elevated doesn't mean you have to lower your chest much lower than your hands. I'm still bringing my chest about hand height or a little bit above my hands, so I'm not hyperextending my shoulders. But these get really tough really quickly. Are you keeping your body planked? Do you still have those 2 apples on your backside? We have 5, 4, 3, 2. Holy wow. Okay, get a minute recovery. Nice job. All right, our next one. TRX Windmill. This takes a little bit of a setup here. If you need to pause and practice, please do. If you're TRX Windmill, we're going to have your straps at mid-length. And I'm going to have you stand sideways with your left shoulder facing the anchor. Okay, walk it all the way out so your left hand is just a little bit lower than shoulder height. Take your right hand, place it on top of the left. Bring it all the way back up. It should be straight above your right foot. Now point both toes 45 degrees to the left. Hinge your right hip out, eyes look up at your right hand, actively push into those foot cradles. Left hand traces down, hold for a moment, neutral spine, I'm still hinging, and then I press right back up, keeping that tension on those foot cradles. That's tricky. Feel free to pause, rewind, try a few of those. Now from there, we're gonna move into your kettlebell windmill, if you feel safe. Okay, ignore the beeper. I want to go over this one. So same thing, you're going to lace your hands to your kettlebell like this. So my fingers are coming through right here. Okay, in that racked position, press it up. Same idea, feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, both toes 45 to the left, the bell's in my right hand. I'm going to hinge my right hip, eyes always stay at the bottom of the bell. Lowering down, nice and controlled, and back up. In 30 seconds, you're probably not going to get more than maybe 4 repetitions. So guys, let's get started with our TRX Windmill. Standing sideways, left hand, switch to right, bring it all the way up, both toes 45 to the left, eyes on your hands. Here we go, hinge down. Practice keeping that pressure on the foot cradles. And if you're still a little bit like, wait, where does my arm go? This doesn't feel like I'm aligned. Again, this one takes some practice. This one took me forever to be like, wait, where is my body? But what I like about this is by pressing on these foot cradles, I can feel my core engage and can kind of ease in and out of this hinge, which then leads me perfectly, take a break, to my weighted kettlebell windmill. Now, if you have a lighter bell, you probably want to start lighter. There's also an option of holding a kettlebell in the bottom hand. Excuse me, or if you don't feel great about it at all, just do body weight. So I'm going to put this kettlebell in my right hand, all the way up, toes 45 to the left, eyes on the bottom of the bell, blocking it into the ceiling. And here I go. I'm going to press my right hip out, hinge down, slow and controlled, and then bring it right back up toward the ceiling. Driving the hip out, neutral spine. I'm not curving my back at all. This is the same hinge as you did in your deadlift. I just happen to be over my left leg a little more. And there's a lot happening in the shoulder here as I'm stabilizing through different angles, pressing my kettlebell back up to the ceiling. Whew, all right, other side. You get to see my good side now. So, standing sideways. I'm gonna hold both foot cradles in my right hand, a little lower than shoulder height. Take my left hand, grab onto that. Flip it up, raise my hand in class. Both toes 45 to the right. I'm a little wider than shoulder width stance. I'm gonna drive my left hip out to the side. My eyes stay up at my left hand. And I'm going to hinge, 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 hinge. Join me now. Here we go, 30 seconds. So again, I'm getting that practice of having some pressure on those foot cradles to help keep my core engaged. If this is too much on your shoulder, you can move toward the anchor. If you feel like you're not quite aligned or need more of a stretch on top, move away from the anchor. But at all times, I'm keeping that constant pressure on those foot cradles and practicing my alignment in my range of motion for those upcoming weighted kettlebell windmills. All right, now we're gonna grab your kettlebell in your left hand. And seriously, if you're like, this doesn't make sense, that's totally fine. This takes practice. Pause it, try it again later. You'll get these and it'll become a favorite exercise. So I'm gonna place my kettlebell now in my left hand, fingers laced through. Start in my rack position, press it back up. Feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. I'm now gonna point both my toes to the right. Popping my left hip out, eyes on the bottom of the bell the entire time, hinging my left hip out. Now I'm very right side dominant, so I can feel a little more wiggly on this left side. It's a little bit harder for me to keep this kettlebell steady. You might also notice a difference in mobility from one side to the other, but remember, safety is priority. If you don't feel safe with this weight above your head, please don't do it. Pressing those hips out, squeeze, brace, return, 3, 2, and 1. You survived that goofy round. All right, here comes a little bit of fun. TRX overhead back extension. So your straps are going to still be at mid-length. You'll be standing facing the anchor. This exercise is almost more like a stretch and a warm-up to practice for your hip hinge. So feet fairly close together, arms straight out in front of you. You'll fold your body in half into that lower back stretch. Pull your hands up above your head, pop to your toes, and then fold your body in half again. Arms stay straight. Kettlebell hard style swing. Grabbing your biggest bell. Start with it on the ground. Bend down, grab the handle, neutral spine, hinge. You're gonna hike it back like a football, unhinge, straight ahead. So notice how when I fling my kettlebell forward, it floats for a moment right out in front of me. But the primary movement is this active hip hinge. My arms are going for a ride. TRX overhead back extension. Are you ready, friends? Let's go. Fold your body in half. Pull those arms up, pop to your toes, pull and squeeze, letting your shoulders fall away from your ears. Enjoy that stretch. I'm hinging and I'm unhinging. That's exactly what you do in your kettlebell swing. Hinge, squeeze your bum, pull it back, unhinge. Making sure you have that neutral spine, shoulders away from the ears. Yes, you're still having 2 apples on your backside. All right, get ready for that. Now we're gonna grab your kettlebell. I'm gonna stand sideways, because the key here is this neutral spine. It's not a squat and a lift, it's a hinge and a float with that bell. So, all right, we're getting there. We have like 10 more seconds left. I'm gonna have you hinge down, knees bent, just like in your deadlift. This is the end range of your deadlift. Now I want you to try to bend the handle of that kettlebell. Feel your shoulder blades pull back in the back pocket. In 5 seconds, you're gonna hike it back like a quarterback, hiking a football, and then drive it forward. Here we go. Hike it, pop it. Squeezing your bum, fling the bell straight out in front of you. Let it float for just a moment. 2 apples every time on the top part of that swing. Hinge, float. Shoulder blades still in your back pockets. Bum is tight, not hyperextending on top. I'm finding that strong plank, flinging the bell forward, letting it fall, and swing. 2, 1, half swing, still controlled. Set down your bell, get it out of the way. Let's get ready for those overhead back extensions again. That got your heart rate up a little bit, didn't it? Arms straight out in front of you, feet fairly close. Take a moment to breathe and now enjoy your lower back stretch. We're not going for about 10 more seconds. Find your air, enjoy the stretch. I'd like to hold this for the rest of the workout, but we have 1 more round after this. All right, guys, squeeze your buns, pull those shoulders back, arms straight, all the way up to your toes. Trick here is kind of popping to your toes and pulling on those straps so you don't lose tension on them. I know the straps are kind of coming out of camera here, but I'm actively pulling back on them so they're not getting loosey-goosey and floppy here. All right, fold, squeeze your bum, practice that hip drive. Again, this shouldn't feel like a hard movement. I like to use this one in warm-up sometimes so people can feel engaging what we call the posterior chain, the back side of your body. They can feel what going to a hinge and out of a hinge feels like. Nice job. Let's get ready for those kettlebell hardstyle swings 1 more time. I'm gonna face you this time. All right, so here's my bell. It says TRX. It's even got yellow on it. Isn't that awesome? You probably can't see the yellow because it's on my yellow mat. Look at all this. Do you like my color coordination today? My outfit is not doing it, but my kettlebell, my mat, and my suspension trainer all match. I feel like I should get a high five for that. All right, guys, we're going in 3. Grab that bell, bend the handle, hike it back, drive it forward, squeeze your buns. After this, we just have 1 more round left. Now, if you're doing what I'm doing and aiming your kettlebell at your screen, please don't let go. That's our number 1 kettlebell rule, is do not let go of the bell. Also neutral spine. That's tied for rule number 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Half swing, and then set it down safely. Get rid of that bell. All right, final set. We've got our TRX body saws. I'm gonna be in my TRX plank. press my feet behind me, but it's like I'm doing an overhead press, right? And then return. To make that easier, I'll have my feet behind the anchor. If you're on a door, you're just gonna have to start at the anchor. Straps will be at mid-calf length for that one. Second exercise, I'm bringing in my smaller kettlebell because I know my limits. Single arm kettlebell overhead press. You're gonna get your bell back into that racked position. Fingers go through here. Thumb by my chin. Kettlebell stays inside of your shoulder. Don't let it drop to the outside. Brace the core. I press it up and bring it right back to that racked position. If this is too much with your kettlebell, grab a dumbbell, a gallon of milk, soup can, whatever you got. Let's get our toes in the foot cradles, get ready for those body saws. Flip it over, I'm ground facing away. I'm gonna scoot back behind the anchor, find that plank. Tight calves, quads, glutes, hamstrings. I'm gonna push my shoulders back behind my elbows and then stick it right above my elbows. Notice how I'm not rocking in front of my elbows. Now these are really hard, gang. If you feel this in your back, or if you feel your hips sagging, then I want you to just hold a regular plank, maybe even come out of the straps. But what I'm doing here is I'm holding a plank and doing the same overhead press that we're about to do with the kettlebells. 3, 2, and 1. Double butt kick, dun dun dun. All right, roll it out. Those are so hard. Luckily, we only have 2 sets of those today. I'm gonna grab my kettlebell in my right hand. We still have 15 seconds. So I'm gonna stand here and catch my breath first. But when you're doing that overhead press, I want you to think about holding your plank. Nothing else moves except for that hand going overhead. Rib stays zipped in. So thumb by my chin. I'm gonna press this up and overhead in 2 and 1. Here we go. Press it straight up and then bring it right back down. Notice how, hopefully, I'm keeping my kettlebell inside the line of my shoulder and not letting it drift out there. I'm squeezing my buns. I'm hiding my ribs. It's amazing how much additional action happens even though I'm just moving one limb. Everything else in my body has to contract. And I'm keeping my shoulder away from my ear even though it's really trying to jump up there. All right, gently set down your bell. We're gonna get back into the foot cradles for those body saws one more time. We're almost done. We've got the body saws and we've got your overhead presses on the other side. And a couple of stretches here. Notice what I did. I moved back behind my anchor. That made my body saw a little bit easier, a little less stressful on my spine. If you've got it in you, you can come further forward. That'll make it more challenging. I'm going to my forearms. I'm pressing my heels back into the handles, pulling my toes towards my shins, nice and tight. Squeeze and brace. Here I go. Press it back. And then reset, shoulders above elbows. My body is straight and strong. Everything's in that tight plank. I'm not letting my hips sag. I'm keeping my shoulders away from my ears. I'm squeezing my calves, my quads, my glutes, my hamstrings. I'm bracing in my core. 10 seconds left. Just a small press and return. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently set your knees down. Double butt kick to get out of there. We've got one more adventure. I gotta get my strap. With your overhead press on the other side. I started on my right. I'm going to go to my left side now. So today, I'm a log roller. We filmed this log rolling thing in the lake. Spring has not been coming this May. So it's 40 degrees out and windy. The lake just thawed. We were in the water. All right, ready? Go ahead and press. We were in the water today for like, 3 hours, even with the wetsuit. Chilled to the bone. After that, I took a hot shower for like an hour. And then I was like, I gotta go work out to warm my body up even more. Hiding your ribs, squeezing your buns. Problem is, I think I lost a few brain cells when we were in that cold water all day. But it was a fun TV show. Hopefully it turns out well. Oh, nice job, you guys. Let's do a couple of stretches and we'll call it a day. I want to show you a really fun stretch that I absolutely love. It's called a TRX standing split. So we'll have your straps at mid-length. You'll probably shorten them up a little bit here. Now, if you ideally have an overhead anchor for this, because you're actually going to stand kind of behind that overhead anchor. If you have a door anchor, snuggle your bum right up to that door, okay? Now I'm going to have you place your right foot into both foot cradles and extend your leg out in front of you. Hold on to your straps. I know you're going to slowly bring yourself forward. Again, if you're too far forward, you might start to helicopter sideways. So make sure you're nice and controlled. The lower your hands are, the less stability you have. Okay, so make sure you're aware of how much upper body help you have. Inhale, exhale, bring it back up. Is that weird? Kind of cool though too, right? Inhale, exhale, bring it back forward. Maybe a little further this time. You do not have to be a Cirque du Soleil performer. Now what I'd like you to think of too, trying to turn this hip underneath. So I'm bringing my back heel up a little bit more. And I'm going to slowly bring it in. Let's try that other side. So place your left foot in there. We used your hamstrings a lot today. And your hip flexors. So we're stretching out your hamstrings and hip flexors. Straighten that leg. Slowly come forward. And again, keeping that nice straight alignment. Make sure you're not windmilling, helicoptering away. I'm not kidding. Oh my gosh. Cold temperatures for too long. I should probably go get checked out with the doctor today. But I feel so much better after working out with you. And inhale, exhale, bring it in. Inhale, exhale, fall forward. Pressing that foot in front. Try to rotate your right leg under so the hip is square. Slowly bring that up. Finally, you're standing chest and torso stretch. After all those pressing exercises, stand facing away from the anchor. Thumbs are up toward the ceiling, one foot in front of the other. Shoulders down and back out of your ears. Good. I'm going to have you bring your right arm down, left arm reaches up over the top. And then switch that up other side. Drop your left arm down, right arm reaches up over the top. Step those feet together. Forward fold, take a bow, just hang there for a moment. And congratulations, everybody. We challenged your strength today with some hinging and some pressing exercises. Some of those might take some practice. Some of them might have felt a little bit strange today. So feel free to do this workout again. Pause the video, practice things. And if you have questions, just comment below. Flip me an email. I'm happy to help you out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.